Welcome to VLSI design video. We are looking into Unit 2 Digital Circuit Design and Testing using HDL. This is the sixth part, that is lecture 6. So the contents what we are going to look into this particular video is the constraint random stimulus generation, which is a part of test bench, HDL test bench. So the objective of this course is to make you how to write the stimulus for a test bench. So this section deals with the stimulus generation for test bench, and since I'll be showing you the examples for VHDL as well as Verilog, you can refer again the same books which I mentioned you earlier. So first we'll see the introduction to constraint random stimulus generation. Historically, verification engineers used directed test bench to verify the functionality of their design. So rapid changes have occurred during the past decades in design and verification. High-level verification languages such as E, System C, Vera, System Verilog have become a necessity for verification environments. Constrained random stimulus generation is not new, it is from before. Everybody uses Verilog and VHDL at very low level abstraction for this purpose. So HVLS, that is high level verification language, provide constructs to express specification of stimulus at high level of abstraction, and the constraint solver generates legal stimulus. Writing constraints at higher level of abstraction makes the programming closer to specifications. A constraint language should support expressions to complex scenarios, flexibility to control dynamically, and combinational and sequential constraints. So let's look how to write or how to generate this constraint random stimulus. I have taken the example of a 4 to 1 mux. So first we need to design a 4 to 1 mux using VHDL. So the VHDL code I'll show here. As I said in the previous videos, we need to define the library IEEE, and from the library IEEE we need to use the package IEEE Standard Logic 1164. So entity mux 4 to 1 is port ABCD, which are 4 inputs which are taken as ABCD, which are input, and the data type is STD logic type. And S0 S1, since it is a 4 to 1 mux, we need 2 selection lines, and the data type it takes again as STD logic. And for a mux there is a single output Z. Architecture, I am writing the architecture in the behavioral modeling style. So I need a process statement, and within the process I have defined all the sensitivity list. So then begin the process. If S0 is 0 and S1 is 0, that means if both the selection is 0, my output should follow A. Else if output should follow B, that means Z is B. Else the output should follow C, and the last condition, that is the else condition, my output should follow D. End if, so this is the nested if, you can see, and then end the process and end the architecture. So this is the VHDL code for a 4 to 1 mux. Now how to generate the stimulus? So for VHDL test bench code for a 4 to 1 mux, here also we need to declare the libraries and packages. And as I said, entity should be empty. No ports will be given for a test bench. So a entity for a test bench is empty. No ports are declared here. Architecture. So declare the component the same 4:1 mux VHDL code what we have written should be declared as a component. You can see here the same as it is, and all the A, B, C, D, S0, S1 and Z are to be called as signals, because here inside the entity if you look at, we don't have any ports are 0. So these inside the component what we have, ports are to be taken up as all signals, and initially we should assign it to 0. Then assign the output signal begin, and then now map the component with the same ports. What is this? This is the signal which is assigned to my component. Again this is a signal assigned to the components. Indirectly I am mapping the ports. Same signal with the same ports. Now comes the stimulus generation. So for stimulus generation I am using a separate stimulus process with the begin, and now I am just asking it to wait for 100 nanosecond just to see the reset state, and then I give the inputs. So I am passing AS1, BS0, CS1 and DS0. Now I keep on changing the selection lines. First I am making both the selection lines as 0 and asking it to wait for 100 nanoseconds. Now after waiting for 100 nanoseconds, I will be changing my selection to 01. Then again asking it to wait for 100 nanoseconds. Now again change the selection to 10 and ask to wait for 100 nanoseconds. Again change the selection to 11 and ask to wait for 100 nanoseconds. So here now end the process of this stimulus process generation. So if you look at, when I say that when I applied both the selection as 0 0, what will be my output? My output should follow A. So that means my output will be producing me 1. And in this case 0 1, here what will be my output? My output should follow B. That means my output will be 0. And here 1 0, my output should follow C. So my output will be 1, because I have already initialized. So this is the initialization part which I have done for all the states. But if you want to change for every state, even that also we can do. Here I can make A1, B1, C1, D1, S0, S1, S00, S10, wait for 100 nanoseconds. Every time also if I want to change, I can change, or else at once if I want to initialize the inputs and then keep on changing the selection also can be done. So since I want to constrain the stimulus generation, the random stimulus generation, I don't want to elaborate it, but I want to constrain it. So here I have written at once or initialized at once the input values, but only the selections are changed so as to see whether the output is following the input or not. Next, end the process and end the architecture. Next we will look into the Verilog example. Same 4:1 mux I take, it is having A as 4 bit 3 down to 0, and selection is 2 bit 1 down to 0. Output is O, and this output is I am treating it as reg type. Always at A or S begin, and I am using a switch case statement. If it is 2 bit binary 0 0 0, my output should follow A of 0. If it is 0 1, my output should follow A of 1. If it is 1 0, A2, 1 1, A3. And for default in the switch case, default case is 0. End case and end the module. End always block and end module. So this is the main code for a Verilog program for 4:1 mux. Now how to write the test bench? Module test mux t underscore b. So here you can see in the module statement we don't have any ports, but I need to map it so as to pass the stimulus. So this is taken as a reg type. As I said, reg and wires are intermediate signals. So wire is O. Now the same multiplexer which I have declared as a main program is called as a unit under test and map the ports A to A, S to S and O to O. Use the initial block, begin the initial block. Hash 10 indicates waiting for 10 nanoseconds. I have given A as 4-bit binary 1010. And here, once I have initialized here, I am not going to change it. Now I am going to change the selection line. Initially selection line made it 00 and asked to wait for 10 nanoseconds. Then I made the selection to be 01 and asked to wait for 10 nanoseconds. Then selection 10 asked to wait for 10 nanoseconds. And then selection 11 asked to wait for 10 nanoseconds. So in this case, when selection is 00, my output should follow A0. So which is A0? A0 is this one. So my output will be 0. When selection is 01, my output will be following A1. So that means my output will be 1. When the selection is 10, my output should follow A2. So it is 0. When the selection is 11, output should follow A3. That means it is 1. Because I have already initialized it here, so my output will be generated accordingly. And $stop is to stop my simulation steps, then end the module. So this is how we are generating the stimulus, but not all the time keeping on changing, but we are just trying to limit our stimulus so that our code will not be elaborative or complex or which we cannot trace. Next, we'll look into the other example. So since 4:1 mux comes under a combinational circuit, I want to show you one sequential circuit. So I have taken the example as a 4-bit up counter. Module up counter, I have the input as a clock and a reset, and output is 4-bit 3 down to 0, which is named as counter. And the reg type, I have taken the outputs and always at positive edge of the clock or post edge reset. Begin. If reset, that means if reset is 1, all should be 0. 4-bit decimal 0 indicates all for binary 0. Else the counter should be incremented with the steps of 1. So this is what it does, incrementing in the steps of 1. End and assign this counter up to my actual counter. Then end module. So this is simple program to just try to increase the counter whenever positive rising edge happens in the clock. That means whenever rising edge appears, the counter will start counting and this counter up will be assigned to counter. So let's see the test bench code for a 4-bit up counter. As I said, test bench will have empty ports. Register, reg type are clock and reset, and wire type is taken as counter, which is 4-bit. Up counter, device under test or design under test. The port mapping is again the same, clock, reset and counter. Initial, begin, and here initially clock is taken as 0, but here you can see one function called as forever. Forever #5 indicates, that means whenever at 5 nanoseconds, all the time after every 5 nanoseconds, clock is not of clock. That means when it is 0, after 5 nanoseconds it will become 1. Again after 5 nanoseconds it becomes 0. Again after 5 nanoseconds it becomes 1. That means in a 10 nanosecond period of time, my clock will be generated with low and high for 5 nanoseconds low and 5 nanoseconds high. So forever indicates it is a continuous generation of the clock. And then one more initial block is taken to generate the stimulus, begin. Reset is 1 for 20 nanoseconds and then made the reset as 0. Next, end module. So here whenever the clock is changing, So when and there the see, when the reset is 1, it is resetted, but when reset is 0, since the clock is keeping on changing, my counter will start counting and will be generating the counting sequence. Next we'll see the VHDL program for a 4-bit up counter. Libraries are to be declared, packages are to be declared, and the entity has just clock as input and Q as output, which is 4-bit 3 down to 0. Architecture name of entity name is begin. Process, within the process the sensitivity list is taken as only clock, and variable, temporary variable is taken, which is again of std logic vector 3 down to 0, and initially it is initialized to all zeros. Begin, if rising edge of the clock appears, then my temporary variable which I have shown will be incremented in the steps of 1, and after completing, then this temporary variable is assigned to Q. What is Q? Q is my actual output. So then end process and end behavioral. Now let's see the test bench generation or stimulus generation in the test bench. Same way again I have to use the library and package. Here you can see the entity is empty without any ports, and the architecture in after the component has to be declared the same with the entity name and the ports, same ports, whereas I don't have any ports, so I'll be calling Q and clock as signals here. So signal clock is initialized to 0, and signal Q is not initialized because Q is the one which has to be generated. So it is std logic vector 3 down to 0, and I am using a constant clock period of time 60 nanoseconds. The clock period is of time type, which is taking 60 nanoseconds time delay. Begin, and then we need to initialize or port map our component, which is a counter 4-bit. Map the ports. What are the ports I have? I have just a clock and a Q. So they are again mapped, and then we need to define a separate process for a clock, because clock has to be generated internally. It won't be generated. With the help of the test bench itself, we are supposed to generate the clock. So clock is generally initialized to 0 and wait for clock period by 2. So what is the period? Clock period, if you look at the previous slide, I have taken constant clock underscore period. How much it is? 60 nanoseconds. So we are asking it to wait for clock period by 2. That means for a half a period, 30 nanoseconds, it will be 0, and after 30 nanoseconds it will be 1. Getting my point? Clock is 0, wait for clock period by 2. Clock period was initialized to 60 nanoseconds. So for 30 nanoseconds clock is 0, and for next 30 nanoseconds clock will be 1, and end the process. So since it is a separate process, it will be continuously generated. Then now comes the actual stimulus generation. So stimulus process begin, waiting for clock period into 10, that means 600 nanoseconds, and then wait. We don't want to give any stimulus, since it is a counter starts keeping only counting the clock pulses. So the clock pulses is having a period of, one clock cycle is having period of 60 nanoseconds, but here I am asking it to wait for clock period into 10, that means 600 nanoseconds. So within the 600 nanoseconds 10 clock cycles will be generated. So in the 10 clock cycles, now my counter will start counting and will be showing me the counting sequence. And finally, lastly, I asked to wait and end the process. So here no other inputs stimulus are generated. So with this, I hope you might have understood how to generate the constrained random stimulus generation within the test bench. Thank you for watching.